Acapulco, Mexico. This is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I have a returning guest coming back on. It's Luis Fernando Mises. I work with him. He works with us at the Dollar Vigilante. He manages our worldwide expat group, the Dollar Vigilante groups. He also works in industry doing conscious capitalism and training leaders. They calls it servant leadership and stuff like that. Really interesting stuff. I think we talked about it the last time he was on Anarchast. But the main reason I wanted to have him on this time is because he actually has sold me, got me some Kratom. And I don't know if you know what that is, but it's, we'll talk about what it is. He knows much better than I do. It's actually helped me and helped out my mom quite a bit, so I wanted to have him on. And of course, Luis will be at our upcoming conferences. He'll be at the Dollar Vigilante Summit on February 24th, and then he'll be at Anarchapulco after that from February 25th to 28th. And he will have some Kratom with him, so if you do want to get some after you hear all about it, you might want to contact him. So we'll talk all about that. So Luis, good to see you again.
Great to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So with Kratom, I heard about it I don't remember, like 6 months ago or so. I remember I was interviewing Macy Tomlin, and we were talking about it a little bit. She's a big fan of it. And I think it came when I heard, I think I remember what happened is my mom came down to Mexico from Canada with their socialized medical care system, and she was in really rough shape. And we went to the doctor, and he said, okay, they have her on like literally 50 different chemicals. I think she only needs about 4 of them. So he got her off a ton of them. And then he said, but there's one thing that she does kind of need that we're not actually allowed to sell here in Mexico. It's Oxycontin for her pain. And I said, okay, well, I'm sure there must be some other things. He's like, well, there's not really anything like it. And she's going to have a really bad time coming off of it. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, I don't know how long she's been on it, but if she's been on it for a fairly long time, it's like worse than coming off of heroin or anything like that. He said, I had 2 American clients came down, they ran out of Oxycontin, and they couldn't get any, and they tried to commit suicide in their hotel room. And I was just sitting there looking at him, because I was just like, what, they prescribe this stuff to people and don't even tell them about this stuff? And he was pretty nonchalant about it. He's like, yeah, that's just the way it is. And I was like, well, she runs out like today, so is it going to be like, like complete trauma, complete chaos, her trying to kill herself? He's like, yeah, pretty much for the next week. And I was like, what the heck? The good thing is she only had a couple days that were kind of bad. She apparently hadn't been on it that long. And she had a couple days that were definitely bad, but nothing too crazy, because I think she was only on it for a few months or something like that. But then I started looking into it, like, what am I going to replace this with? Because she has some really bad pain with her knee. And then I heard about Kratom. And so Luis actually shipped me down some, and I gave some to her. And I'm like, here, Mom, take this. And she's like, oh, yeah, this is much better. And she's much better mood, and everything was fine. And I was like, what the heck? Why are they selling this Oxycontin stuff to people, to literally millions and millions of people, that is like worse than heroin from what I can tell, when there's something like Kratom? So, Luis, why don't you take it from there with what you know about Kratom?
Okay, so it's a fantastic healing plant, and it's a relative of the coffee plant. And it comes from Southeast Asia, mainly Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and those places. Rainforesty areas, kind of warm and wet. And in the 1800s is when people started using it for medicinal purposes, or at least that's kind of the history behind it. Probably some tribes have been using it forever. So the way that it was starting, like the way that it was used, people would just pull out leaves and chew them, and that would alleviate a lot of pain and mood and whatnot. Then, as of recently, probably the last 30, 40, maybe 30 years forward, people started using it for also recreational purposes. Now, I got brown recluse bite on my ankle, and it zapped my energy, and I was like just really struggling. And like you mentioned, I do a lot of seminars. We do probably, 40 a year, and you're on the road traveling, and I just couldn't afford not to have energy, because those are like high energy days. You're just going all the time. So I have actually 3 personal friends that sold Kratom at the time. well, two, and one actually retired with, $2-3 million from selling Kratom alone. And I was like, okay, what, Theodore, you freaking retired at age 35 from selling Kratom? And so he was telling me all about it, and he kind of got me some contacts, and so I started getting Kratom for my energy. And there's three main kinds of Kratom, and I'll just tell you about it. It's also an opiate, so it does have risks, and we'll talk about them here in a second. And as you're having questions, Jeff, if you have any, please jump in, because I don't want to just ramble. So the idea is that this medicinal plant has been used for such a long time to treat a lot of things. So there were, in the early days, two kinds of veins or strains, the green one and the red one. So the green one historically has been for energy purposes and as a mood uplifting purposes, and the red one was sedative, pain management. And the way that they collected it, because this is like something that just grows wildly over there, and somebody thought of a way of capitalizing it. So they started processing it, drying it, and pulverizing it, and then just selling it. And that was fantastic. And then it used to be pretty expensive, to the point, like, I don't know, there's a specific strain called Maeng Da that it no longer exists, and that's actually a misnomer for the new Maeng Das that occur. So this specific one was about $300 per pound. It was like super expensive, and it had properties of euphoria and energy combined. So it was the way that it was processed, and that batch was called Maeng Da. So it stopped existing and stopped being, processed. And I actually still have some of that original Maeng Da. That's like my secret reserve that I have. And then they started processing it in different ways, so they started getting different colors for the leaf. So remember, it's like a shrubbery of sorts, like coffee, if you will. And the way that they process it is what changes the color and the benefits. So there are there's a bunch of colors these days, but the ones that I normally sell are green, which is, like I was telling you, energy. A lot of times it's also for mood support. Then the yellow or white, which have kind of similar properties, they tend to be euphoric. And the red one are for pain management. Now, I tend to be a bit of an introvert, so when I would do seminars, I take a little bit of green and a little bit of white, and I was just like euphoric, energetic, and talky. So it was a huge benefit for me to be able to find that. I don't really suffer from a lot of pain, so the red one I don't take as much, but there's been a couple of times where my mind, would be just racing with thoughts, and I will just take some red Kratom, and it will knock me out. So it's great for sedative. So I would just take a bunch of pills, because I would make my own capsules from the powder and just pass out. My wife has used it also for pain management, and it works pretty good. Well, I don't want to say pretty good. It works great, actually. So from then, you have other sub-colors and, mixtures and whatever for different effects. Now, you can probably find Kratom even on some gas stations, but the quality obviously is not as good. So from my friend that actually became a millionaire from selling Kratom, I got a couple of contacts, and so I tried, 2 or 3 kinds. I did my own homework, and I found some of that, what I thought was the best. And I was using it, and then I saw that the US government tried to ban Kratom. And I was like, wait a minute, this is like crazy, because
that's what got me into Kratom quite a bit. That was the thing, because as soon as I saw that, because I'd heard about it, but as soon as I saw that the U.S. federal government was about to ban it, I'm like, okay, this stuff must really be good for you, because they only ever ban stuff that's really good for you. That's all they ever do. And so that's what really got me looking into it. I forgot about that.
Absolutely. So that's when, for the longest time, I've been trying to find a product or a service or something to just go with, my brand of Emancipated Human. But like, I wasn't like feeling really connected to things, and I cannot sell stuff that I don't really believe in. So, I was like, gosh, I love Kratom. It's helped me a lot. It's helped my wife. I'm just gonna freaking sell it now to all my anarchist friends because I know that these freaking contrarians, as soon as the government says that it's gonna be banned, they're gonna want it. So the first time
Worked for me.
yeah, right. I told my friend from Indonesia, I was like, dude, send me about 6 kilos. So he sent me 6 kilos, and I spent some good money, and I posted on Facebook, hey, I've been taking Kratom normally, but now that it's about to be banned, I'm selling. I have 6 kilos. It sold in a week or so. Like, people were just buying it in like large quantities, and then I had to ask the guy. I was like, send me another 6. So he sends me another 6, and they went so fast. And then I was like, gosh, send me like 20. So basically, all that's to say, I was able to, like, for the first 2 months, I think I made like $2,500 each month, just like working 2 hours a day. So I was like, gosh, this can be really nice and profitable. And then the state began to, I guess, get a little more what they do best, constipated and getting into everybody's business. So I actually lost probably, street value, probably about $15,000 worth of Kratom, which was, 45 kilos that they just basically stole from us. It was 2 orders of 20-something kilos each. And so that's, I lost some good money there. And then, so I've been smuggling smaller quantities at a time. We did a lot of work, and we're still not over the hump. They are still trying to get this as they call it, Schedule 1 for the meantime, if you will. They're going to try to ban it just to study it. So who does that? First study it, and then if you see that it's harmful, whatever. But so what I did research on this, and what I found is that the same family that owns the, I guess, the chemical intellectual property of Oxycontin and hydrocodone wanted to get the same, like, basically Kratom and just put it in as a pharmacy model instead of just a natural plant and make money off of it. So they're using the state to monopolize their business, so they have no other competition. And I was like, gosh, that's pretty crazy. So, I mean, again, like I said, we're still not over it. They're still trying to come after it. And I mean, it's still legal, fully legal. So, whatever I'm saying, I'm selling it. Yeah, it's legal at the moment. Maybe once it's not legal anymore, I probably won't sell it anymore just because I have a lot to lose. I'll find something else. But the idea is that this plant is amazing. I've actually helped people get off of opiates like hydrocodone with red kratom because this stuff is so magnificent. Now, after, the 3 normal colors that I told you I would sell, I started getting into the liquid extract and the gold extract. These are for people that have higher tolerance. The gold extract is, it kind of mimics the mangda that I was telling you, but it's 10 times stronger. Whereas, the normal threshold dose for green and white are about 3 to 4 grams. This one is like 1/3 of a gram or half a gram, and gosh, it's like so powerful. And it just has me buzzing all day. So like in the morning, I just take my butter knife and I take the little tip of it, put it in my mouth, chug it with some coffee, and I'm balancing for the day. Now the liquid is also really good for people that have really high tolerance, because I've had people that, I send them like, 2 or 3 ounces, and then they're like, dude, I have to take 20 ounces to feel anything. And that's like a big red flag, because, it's not a good thing that they're taking so much, because it can become addictive and you can get constipated. It's an opiate. So the liquid extract, you just take very little and you're set for pain management. So this is a plant that helps with so many things, as I was telling you, and that's kind of why they're going after it.
Yeah, totally. It's amazing, isn't it, how you have the government who is essentially saying it's totally fine for doctors to distribute these really crazy, like you mentioned, Hydrocotton, Oxycontin, all these things. Once you look into these things, they're not much different than heroin, really, in many respects. And so they're distributing that. They're making billions of dollars off of it. And then there's a plant that's much better that can actually even get you off of those things. So it's even better in that sense that it can even get you off the really bad stuff and get you onto something much better and much less sort of like with these horrible side effects and addictive properties and things like that. And they try to ban it as much as possible. So, you know, so many people out there are like, well, without government, you know, what would happen? It's like, well, you'd have access to really good stuff. You wouldn't be just only have access to horrible stuff. You know, it's just every single time the government gets involved. And of course, then they come and extort and rob you. It's trying to get this to people. And as you pointed out, some of these people, and I've seen some of these stories, this actually was, I think, part of the reason they didn't fully ban it when they first tried to ban it is because so many people came out and said, hey, this is actually keeping me alive right now. If you stop this, like, I'll probably die.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, one thing that you mentioned is they're taking good natural stuff away from me, but not just that, it's like infinitely cheaper. Hydrocodone and Oxycontin, those guys are super, super expensive. Kratom, I'm selling it for $10 an ounce. And you know, if you take 3 or 4 grams per dose, that's about 9 doses per ounce. So $10 for nine doses, that's extremely cheap, you know, compared to the other stuff, the monopolized, socialized medicine. You know, that's insane to me. And the other thing that I want to point out, I think that there is a time and a place to play politics, because a lot of Puritan anarchy. I mean, I'm an anarchist, but I see the time when we have to fight for it, you know, and a lot of people say, well, you're begging for permission. No, you aren't. You know, you're putting yourself my friend Murdoch says that you're negotiating, you know, your rights, you're going after it. So anything that minimizes the state, I would go for that. Anything that augments the state, I will obviously not go for that. So I think there's a time and a place to do that, and that was one of them. Because I wouldn't want to get it banned like marijuana or cannabis, and then having to really beg those guys to let us have it back.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's usually the case. That's, you know, part of the reason why marijuana has been illegal, because it helps so many people. It's actually one of the best plants in the world for health. It cures cancer. And then you have kratom, all these things. They try to get rid of all those things. It's unbelievable what they do. As far as the actual effects, we should talk a little bit more about that. For my mom, for the pain, it worked amazing. So that's some firsthand experience with it. I was on, when I first took it for the first time, when you sent it to me, I actually had my maid here put it into some gel capsules for me, because it actually does taste really gross. So I was on a flight to Dominican Republic, and that's a really long trip from Mexico here. You have to go, I think I went through Cuba or Miami or somewhere, some communist country. And then I got to Dominican Republic. It was like 15 hours of travel, and usually I'd be wiped right out, but I took some kratom along the way. And I got there, and it was like 10 at night, and I think I wrote on Facebook, I was like, is kratom cocaine? Because I was just like flying. I was just like full of energy. I went down and played poker all night. I went out afterwards. I was just full of energy. So that was my experience with it. I did notice, as you mentioned, that the more that I took it after that, the less effect it would have. So then I started to only take it when I really needed it. And so now I'm sort of in the mode of, like, I haven't taken it in over a week now. I was taking it probably once or twice a week. On days, I'd normally take it on a day where I'd find my energy started lagging, sort of like halfway through the day, and I really wanted to get a bunch more stuff done, so I'd take some kratom. But that's been my experience with it. I did have with the euphoria stuff. When I did go out one night on it, I took a bunch. I was pretty loopy on it. Like, I don't know if you've ever gotten like to that stage with kratom, but like I was drinking, but I wasn't like super pounding drinking. I was having some drinks, but I had taken a lot of kratom, and I was pretty, you know, pretty loopy. I don't know if that's normal for taking quite a bit of the euphoria kratom.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So it's a plant that's it kind of defies common sense, because if you take a little bit, it kind of uplifts your energy and your mood. If you take a lot of it, instead of giving you more energy, it sedates you and just mellows you out. So with the euphoria, I actually, with the gold extract, you know, I was telling you just take a third or half a gram. So one guy bought, I don't know, 5-10 grams from me, and he took 1.5 grams because he said that he underestimated it, and he was just like so lovey-dovey and so mellow and so like relaxed. So it's like gold kratom is supposed to just like, when you have like 16-hour days teaching and talking and whatever, and he just took a bunch of. So yeah, the same thing that you're talking about. It was just, and he said, I don't think I could drive like this. So yeah, you don't drive when you're on 1.5 grams of gold reserve kratom.
Yeah, it was like extra. It was like I was really drunk or something, but I hadn't drank that much. I only had a few drinks. Like I was just kind of loopy. It was fine, it was interesting, but it was, that interesting experience I had, and then you could just use sort of the more energy stuff for, more work or if you want, when you're going to go out or something. And then of course the pain management. So really cool stuff. And so glad that you were able to get me some, because it isn't that easy to get, and I see that you've been helping a lot of people get it, and you continue to do that. And I know you're coming to Anarchapulco, so is there a way that people can get some from you at Anarchapulco?
Yeah, I'll bring a couple of kilos with me, and I just want to talk a little bit about the risks, because I don't like to just paint life in a rosy way. It does have risks, and as an anarchist, we need to be responsible and know everything of repercussions of what we do. So, number one, I mentioned it. If you take it often, you'll see you'll feel a little constipated. You can get rid of that with like some X-Lax or whatever. Now the other thing is, if you take a lot, your tolerance levels will increase, and then you're going to need more and more and more. And then when that happens, you can, because it's an opiate, you can get addicted to it. So that's something that you have to be pretty careful. So like you said, taking it twice a week, that's fine. 3 times a week, that's okay. On a daily basis, when you don't really need it, I wouldn't do it. So this is more of a like as needed, as you call it. So if you're gonna go on a party Saturday night, take a little green, little red, little green and a little white, party around. Actually, one of my friends, he had depression and he was in pain, and he mixed red and white, and he said that he went on a run with his dog and he felt happy. So he went from depressed and pain to running with his dog and feeling happy about it. This is the power of kratom. It's pretty impressive. So now, like I said, we need to be mindful of our usage, just like anything else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've gotten sort of over my depression the last few weeks. It kind of reached, I don't know if it'll come back. It doesn't feel like it though. But I sort of reached this point when I was doing a juice fast that lasted about 10 days. But before that, I'd been doing everything. I'd been doing magic mushrooms a couple times a month, really getting into deep introspection. I'd been yoga, meditation, exercise, changing my entire diet to more things that are good for your mood and good for things like serotonin and stuff like that. And I had been taking kratom, so who knows what, maybe all of them had some sort of effect, but I'm the same way now. Like I get up at 6 in the morning every day now, which is not normal at all for me. Like never in my life have I ever done that. And I watch the sunrise come up, and then I go for a run with my dogs, and I feel great, I'm happy, I have a great time with my dogs. It's some things I've never felt, at least in 15 or 20 years. So maybe kratom has been a part of that, who knows? Like a lot of these things, they all kind of add up over time, but that's the thing though, that the kratom seems to have a lot more positive things than it does negative. When it comes to the addictions, so you point out the risk is you could get addicted to it. Is the addiction, have you ever heard of or seen anyone who was addicted to it, where it was at a thing where when they stopped, it was like almost as bad as Oxycontin or heroin or anything like that? Is it that level of addiction that you can get?
Yeah, you can, but so my friend Theodore, I was telling you that he became a multimillionaire from selling kratom because he had so much access to it, and it was subsidized by the people that were buying it. He started getting like pretty crazy, and he actually told me that if you take a lot, you can get nauseous and vomit, which is kind of normal when you take a lot more than you need. But he said that in order to bypass that, he wanted the loopy effect, so he started doing kratom enemas.
Wow.
Yeah, so it can be rectally too. Don't try this, please. But so that's what he did, and he was just doing like heroic doses of kratom up the rear end, and so it got pretty bad. And so, but he's he actually went to do iboga like 3 or 4 times to be able to get rid of drinking and kratom addiction, all of that. But I mean, unless you're doing, that kind of stuff, you'll be fine, but your tolerance level will grow, and that's not a good thing. So you'll feel like you kind of you need it. But yeah, it's very unlikely that you will be in the same shoes as like a heroin addict.
Yeah, that's good. So how about for people who are using it for pain management, like my mom? Should she not be taking it every day for literally years?
I think that, I have
I
one
should
friend.
preface that by saying that she wasn't taking all that large of an amount. I don't even know what an ounce is really, but it's like about 3 small little capsules of kratom every day, and that seemed to help her with the pain.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like our moms, they're, smaller ladies that just, they need very little, and that's okay. That's probably 1.5 grams what you were giving her, and that's more than enough. I have a friend that has herniated and dislodged discs in the spine, and she was taking it every 3rd day, and it seems like because kratom stays in your system for a while, she was without pain the day and a half after she didn't take it. So it can like help that much. So you don't have to necessarily take it on a daily basis. If you need to take it on a daily basis, I mean, I just cannot imagine that you would, even with the guy that was taking 20 grams a day that ended up getting the liquid extract. Don't take it every day, no. If you're going to maybe just take tiny doses, just enough to don't have the edge anymore, just to kind of numb the pain, but not enough to where you feel like sedated. It does take away the migraines too. I have a friend that he said that he spent thousands going to doctors to get rid of migraines, and only the liquid kratom was able to help him. So this is, again, like, I mean, you don't get migraines every day, but so it does help.
Yeah, seems like it can help a lot of people. So check it out. Of course, do your own due diligence out there, of course. We pointed out a lot of the positives and negatives of it, and there's probably a few that we missed. So do your own due diligence as always. But I've taken it. I've never found anything crazy at all. Like nothing, even when I took a lot that one night, I was just a little loopy, which, nothing crazy. It gave me a ton of energy when I needed it, and it's helped my mom with pain. So nothing but good effects for us on this side. So Luis, when you come to Anarchapulco, if people want to get some from you or talk to you, and then you'll be speaking in Anarchapulco as well, how can people get in contact with you?
Luis Fernando Mises on Facebook, or email at emancipatedhuman@gmail.com. Facebook tends to be easier. I mean, who uses email anymore these days for non-business issues, right? So, and yeah, I'll be happy to. I mean, just approach me. And if you see me at Anarchapulco, I'm a little bit of an introvert, so I may not be just, going on everybody's business. So just approach me, ask. I'll be happy to help.
That's great. So you're a narco-capitalist. You'll be there. You'll be helping people get some kratom if they want some. Past Anarchast guest Joshua Kettner will be there. He's from Dream Body Clinic, and he'll help people if they want to get legal human growth hormone, which I'm also on. I'm on so many things, but I'm feeling great. So actually, if you follow me on Facebook, I put my sort of daily routine online a couple of days ago. Pretty wild, all the stuff I do now, but I'm feeling really good. So can't complain. Yeah, Luis, I'll see you pretty soon. You're heading down pretty soon, huh?
Yeah, next week I'll be there, the 23rd, which is Thursday, to prepare for the next good day, the 24th, the summit. So I hope I can see everybody from the newsletter subscribers there, because I feel like I have a connection with a lot of you already. And I guess one more thing that I want to talk about kratom just real quick. It's not something that you have to take often to feel it. You take it once, you feel it. And you can probably attest to this, like, other things, it has to be in your system to feel it. This stuff is so fast.
Yeah, good point. So a lot of people actually are already showing up here in Acapulco. So for people who are showing up already, just head on to the Anarchapulco Facebook group. A lot of people sort of post on there. A lot of meetups already happening. I know there's already parties planned. It's going to be literally parties every day and every night from pretty much now until well into March. People come here for a month. It's pretty wild. It's a lot of fun as well. So if you haven't looked into coming yet, you're running out of time, but you still got a little bit of time. And I looked into flights recently, and I found some crazy cheap flights from San Antonio, $200 round trip, $300 round trip from Dallas, $300 round trip from LA. no excuse as far as the travel unless you have absolutely no money. And if you have absolutely no money, you get to work. That should be your number one priority, and make some money. Go out there and help some other people and profit from it. And that's all good for anarcho-capitalists. So, Luis, great to see you, and we'll see you live in person soon here in Acapulco.
I'm excited about that. Thank you.
All right, and that's it for Anarchast. If you like this, please like, subscribe, share down below. Get this information out there, especially about Kratom. It really can help a lot of people, especially if they got opiate addictions and stuff. We've talked about Iboga in the past. That also is amazing for getting off opiate addictions. But Kratom's a lot sort of milder, easier to get, and nothing like Iboga. Iboga is like a big... but Kratom is something that you just get off Luis and try it out if you got some opiate addictions. I know people have been addicted to Oxycontin and things like that, and so many. I think there's literally millions of people who are. So share this video with anyone out there who you know might have problems with opiates or things like that, and let them know about Kratom, and also let them know if the government tries to ban it, to get out there and you bang some sticks against pots, I guess, is what you do. Or go call your senator or something, whatever. But yeah, I agree with you, Luis. You got to do something. You can't just sit here and have them just take all your stuff constantly and not say anything. That doesn't help either. But I do understand. It does feel weird, sort of asking these people who have no right whatsoever to do any of this stuff to please don't do it. But that's the world we live in today. So hopefully we're trying to fix all that at Anarchapulco. So check it out. Anarchapulco, February 25th to 28th, coming up very soon. Check it out at anarchapulco.com, and that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
Are you coming back next year?
I wish we were already at next year so I could come back. It was so much fun.
I feel like I'm part of a big family here.
I've made so many amazing friends, instant amazing friends.
It's incredible to be around people who are so evolved.
The best part is always the people.
It's almost overwhelming. Just so many amazing people in one place.
There's always the trailblazers, and a lot of them are here.
This is now a pillar of the global community of freedom activists.
I mean, I'm filled. I feel like a champagne glass. Bubbly, renewed, festive.
A lot of people always complain, where are the women? Yeah, in Acapulco, that's where they're at.
Everybody wants to be friends. Everybody just wants to learn more about each other and really get to know each other because we already have so much in common, so why not actually be friends?
If you want to be a part of it, come and experience it because you're not going to get this experience anywhere else.
You will grow as a person.